Hello and welcome to the Shara Made Podcast. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, and a big hello if this is the very first time you're joining me. I've got a couple of FOs, quite a few whips, a giveaway prize to draw. I've got a sock along to talk about, a few design whips to show, and a couple of acquisitions as well, and some future cast-ons to talk about. So I'm going to dive straight in and start talking about one of my whips that's really small, but it's probably the smallest one I've got, so I'll start with that one. I'll go from smallest to biggest maybe. Now this first one is a crochet whip, and I haven't talked about any crochet for a little while, so I thought I'd better show some. Now what I'm making is the Melbourne Wrap by Shelley Husband, and it's from the Granny Square Flair book. And a couple of weeks ago I did a workshop with Shelley Husband, which was amazing, at my local yarn store, which is Crumbs Craft. It's an absolutely beautiful yarn store, but they also run amazing workshops there as well, which is really amazing. And I was lucky enough to do a workshop there with Shelley Husband, and it was fantastic. Shelley's amazing. If you have ever had the chance to meet her, you would already know that. She's a crocheter extraordinaire, and she's really talented, but she's also a really lovely person as well. So it was really great doing that workshop with her. I learned lots of really fun new things. And I'll try and show you a picture of this without giving away the secret sauce. So this is the wrap. I don't know if you'll get such a great idea of it, but you make, there's one motif. I'll probably show you the motif on the back here. This is the motif here in a solid colour, and you make several of those for the large part of the body, the main section of the wrap, and then you make two giant ones of that motif. It's a motif that you can extend, so that's the standard part of the motif, and then you can actually keep going around it, sort of like when you extend a granny square, a traditional granny square in crochet, and you can continue making rounds. Same with that motif, you can continue making rounds. So you have the small squares in the body of the wrap, and then two large extended squares on the ends of the wrap. And the sample wrap, this one here, was made in a particular yarn, the name of which I can't pronounce, and I'm not even going to try because it'll just be humorous. But it's this one here. And it was in this particular colourway, the sample that Shelley had, and I just fell in love with it, and I needed to make it exactly the same way Shelley had made it, or Shelley's sample was made. So the Lilla Bjorn one as well. So that's the yarn I'm using, that's the pattern I'm making, and so far I've almost finished my first motif, so it's not quite finished. I'm about 3/4 of the way around the last round. So that's what I've got so far of the first motif. So I've got, I don't know, maybe 35 more to go or something like that. So it might take me a while. I thought I was just going to bang it out. But that's what I've got so far. I think it might be one of those projects that I do in between other projects, because all the motifs are exactly the same, so if I can just do one whenever I get a chance, they'll get done, and then I'll join them all together, and then I'll have my beautiful wrap at the end of it. When the yarn first arrived, because I ordered it online, I was a little bit concerned because even though it's just got the same wool, nylon, ratio content to a regular sock yarn that I regularly use, it had quite the shine on it, like I'm assuming it's from the nylon content, and it looked a bit extra synthetic, I don't know, and I don't know, it didn't appeal to me at all. I wasn't liking it. It's not apparent on the screen there at all, and I was a bit worried that I wasn't going to like it, and Shelley's sample didn't look like that at all. So when the yarn arrived, I was a bit worried, but once I've started working the yarn, that sheen appears to have disappeared. So it must be once you work the yarn in your hands and start using it, that sheen sort of gets, I don't know, fluffed off or something. The halo disguises it, because now I really like the way the yarn looks. It looks really beautiful. And it's a fingering weight yarn. It's a single ply, and it's coming up quite beautifully. I'm really enjoying it. So that is, I think, going to be my relaxing, peaceful project in between my other projects. So that should be a nice piece, and I actually can't wait to have it finished because I just want to wear it around. I just love it. I think something that I really love about it is I actually just really love the styling of the photos. I just, make the lifestyle. I just love that. The model's gorgeous. I love her hat. It's all really cool. I love the bush setting. It actually reminds me of a Frederick McCubbin painting, The Lost Girl. If you're familiar with that painting, the background is very similar to that painting. But anyway, it's one of my favourite paintings. And I think that's sort of conjuring up romantic memories of that painting, and that's part of why that is appealing to me. So there's a little peek inside my head. And my next one, this is it's an FO. So I'm skipping around a little bit between whips and FOs, but that's okay. That's also how my brain works. And this is a pattern of mine. So this one is the Felix socks, and the test knit has just finished, just yesterday, with my seriously amazing group of testers, like such an amazing group of women who were just perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better group. So amazing. Really, yeah, brilliant. And they've all made beautiful socks, so gorgeous. It was really, really made my heart sing. So that is these socks here. I've got two, obviously. I'm about to sneeze, hold on. So that is these socks here, the Felix socks. They've got a short row heel, and they've got ribbing around the back of the leg and along the side of the instep to help with a nice snug fit. And they've got a little lace panel down the front, which is quite intuitive to knit, so you can read your work and you don't have to continually be referring to the chart, hopefully. And that's these. And the yarn that I've used is Blackbeard by Pirate Pearl, and it is seriously gorgeous. I'm so excited that Katrina from Pirate Pearl Yarns has started dyeing again, and she's restocking her shop because I want to get my hands on some more. It is so beautiful. I just want to make everything with this yarn. It is just sensational, and I think this colourway is called Moonlight, and it's a beautiful blue grey colour, as you can see. I just love it, and it's a Polworth silk blend, I think. And this pattern should be released very, very soon, and you'll be able to get that on Ravelry. The test knit went very smoothly, so the pattern seems to be working just fine, which is great. I've knit a few pairs myself, so and they've gone off to other people now. And it comes in 3 different sizes, a small, medium and a large. This is the medium size, and everyone's sizes seem to work just nicely, so that's great. Now I've got another pair of socks that are also an FO, but they're a design width as well, because this is my next sock pattern, and I haven't got a name for these yet, but in my head I'm calling them, their working title is the plum socks, because the yarn that I am using is from Bolter Knitwear, and on Instagram Bolter Knitwear is by Plum Celia. I might be saying that wrong. But Plum is the name of the dyer, and so I've been calling these the plum socks, but I don't know if that will stick as the name. But these are the socks. You can see the lace panel down the front, and they've got a similar design with the ribbing up the side and around the back of the leg, and they've also got the short row heel, and they're knit toe up just like the Felix socks as well. And I've got a pair, and you can see a little bit of a difference in the way that the yarn pulled, and I don't know if that was just the way the yarn ended up because of the way that the yarn was dyed, or if my gauge changed a little bit from one sock to the next. Both are quite possible. The gauge feels similar in the socks, if not the same, but it's very possible that my gauge changed even just slightly, which could account for that change in the pattern. But I like that. I like that they're a little bit different. They're sisters, not twins. So that is the plum socks. And I will be calling for testers for these socks in the next week or so. So if that looks like something that you think you might like to knit, these come in 3 sizes as well, small, medium and large. Keep an eye on Instagram and in the Ravelry group, and I'll need some testers for those. And I've started another pair of these plum socks in a different yarn, but I'm not sure if I'm going to continue in these. I love the way they look though, so maybe I will keep going. I think I'm just a bit sock knitted out. I think I said that in the last episode. I've knit so many pairs of socks recently that I feel like I've just, knitted myself out of sock mojo. But this is another pair that I've started. You can see how glittery they are in the plum socks. But I'm just wondering, is that colour too dark to even make the effort of the patterning worth it? I don't know. But, I mean, they look really cool. Maybe I'll keep going. They look awesome. And, yeah, I don't know. I love them. I love how sparkly they are. The yarn is from My Favourite Garage, and it's called something really cute. Diamonds in the Sky, maybe? It's really, really sparkly, like just the sparkliest yarn I've ever knit. And I'm knitting these for my sister because she had been seeing all my socks that I'd been knitting popping up on Instagram, and she said, those socks look really nice. I really, really love the one pair of socks that you've knit me over the years. I wear them all the time. That one single pair. Is that a hint? Or so I thought maybe I should make her another pair of socks and surprise her. And the last pair I made her were very practical. So I thought maybe I should make her a fancy pair, and her favourite colour's blue, and she loves sparkles, loves anything glittery, sequins, sparkles, anything like that. So I thought maybe I should do this. I don't know, I should persevere. She'll really, really, really love them with the pattern on them, but I don't know. They seem to be taking ages. I should persevere. Anyway, that's another pair of the plum socks. So, speaking of the lovely Bolton knits and this beautiful yarn and all my socks, the month of May is when I'm actually holding a sock along in my Ravelry group. So you may have already seen that on Instagram if you follow me there, or in the Ravelry group if you follow me there. And I talked about it in my last episode as well. And it's really easy to take part in the sock along. All you have to do is make socks. Any sort of sock. They can be knit or crochet, any weight yarn. They can be chunky, they can be DK, they can be bed socks, they can be booties, they can be slipper socks, they can be ankle socks, they can be knee-high toe socks, 4-ply, fingering weight, anything at all, as long as they're socks. Go for it. And whips are okay as long as they're not more than 50% complete. So as long as you haven't got more than one sock in the pair already done, then you can put it in the sock along. So if you've got a bunch of single socks that are hanging around and need a pair, this will be the opportunity to make their partner. And there's a chatter thread and an FO thread, and both threads are eligible to win prizes in. You can get a prize in either thread. And you'll see all the information in both of those threads if you head to my Ravelry group as well. And I'll show you the prizes. This is the prize that you can win in the chatter thread. And this is from Bolton Knits. You can see there. Lovely yarn, and this is called Dark Forest, and it's 75% merino and 25% nylon, and it is just gorgeous. My god, so tempted to keep this when it arrived in the mail, and I opened it up. I was like, I don't want to give this away. I'm going to keep it. It's so beautiful, and those colours are right up my alley. I love it. And the prize for the FO thread is this. So a project bag and a skein of yarn, again from Bolton Knits. And this colour is called Softness, and the project bag is made by me. And you've got just a plain lining. This is the box bottom. And I did a little bit of a patchwork heart on the front, so I thought that was a bit cute. You've got your little handle on the edge. It's great sock size, but you could also fit a shawl in there as well. So that is the prize for the FO thread. And yeah, so if you enjoy making socks, or you want to learn how to make socks, or you've never made socks and you think, right, now's the time I should learn to make socks, head over to my Ravelry group and check out both those threads, and you'll see all the information you need to know on how to enter the threads, enter the sock along, and you could win one of those beautiful prizes. Everyone all over the world is eligible to win the prizes. You don't have to be in Australia. Everyone's welcome to enter. I'll be happy to send the prize to anyone, anywhere in the world. Everyone's fine. And that's all I've got to say about the sock along, but I've got some lovely activity. There's already FOs in the FO thread, and they're beautiful. There's lots of activity in the chatter thread, and it's been really nice to see what people are up to. As you can tell, you already know I'm mad for socks, so yeah. And if you happen to want to test knit, their socks, you could enter your test knit into the sock along, so there you go. And of course you can double up with other knit alongs in my sock along, as long as it doesn't interfere with the other rules in the other knit alongs. And I say knit along loosely, but of course I would never exclude any sort of crochet. I love crochet socks, and if you're looking for some awesome crochet sock patterns, check out the Addy Day Designs socks. I've actually put some links in the chatter thread in my Ravelry group to some really cool crochet sock patterns, because they're really awesome. So if you're not a knitter but you are a crocheter and you've always thought, I'd love to make socks, but all the patterns seem to be for knitting, check out the Addy Day Designs sock patterns, because they're really, really cool. They fit beautifully, they're fun and easy to make, the patterns are really clear, they're a real joy to make. So yeah, check them out, they're really good. Now, my next pattern, my next loop, you may remember from my last episode. Excuse me, I'm just going to reach across. So, this one is my Apex Cabin sweater, which is actually a jacket, not a sweater. And in the last episode, I just showed you a front panel and it was pretty boring. Well, now I have done quite a bit more, and I probably could have finished it by now, easily could have finished it by now, but I sort of feel like I got a bit, I feel like maybe I was cursed with this pattern. I knit 2 fronts, I then knit the back, I then did the shoulders. You're meant to knit all of the front and the back and then block them and then seam the shoulders, but I left my stitches live and did a 3 needle bind off because I really hate seaming, particularly shoulders. So I thought I'll do a 3 needle bind off and that'll be cool, then I'll just block it all together, which is fine. That part was fine. I did that, and then you seam the sides and then you pick up stitches around the armholes and then you knit the sleeves in the round, which is great. I enjoyed that type of construction, which was no problem. Well, sort of was a problem. When I was seaming the side seams, I thought, it's weird, why do the fronts seem longer than the back? This is really strange. And I had to sort of ease the fronts in. It wasn't row for row when I was stitching them together. And I thought, that is really strange. Maybe I accidentally added some extra rows in the front. That's a bit weird. I really felt like I counted really accurately on those so that my fronts would match each other, and had the same problem when I did the seam on the other side, and I thought, oh, that's weird. Oh, how strange. Then I started counting my stitches because I thought, that's really odd that I had the same issue on both sides, and I thought, maybe there's an error in the pattern and there's more rows in the front panels than there are in the back, and I checked and the pattern was correct. I thought, that's strange. Started counting, and I'd knit the size large for the front and I'd knit the size medium for the back. So I don't know how I did that. You may remember in the last episode I was discussing whether I should go up or down a size. I wasn't sure which size I should make, and I was worried that I'd made it too big and I was going to go down a size, and I think I forgot what I was going to do because I'd actually knit 3 front panels in different sizes, and then I don't know, I just forgot what I was doing and ended up with 2 large front panels, and then thought I'll knit the medium and knit the back in the medium. And anyway, so the front's large and the back's medium, and that's the way I'm having it. I'm not undoing it. So that was, it looks fine, it doesn't look strange or anything. And then I thought, well, what size sleeves do I need if I've got a large front and a medium back? So I thought, oh, I'll sort of go halfway between the two. That was no big deal. It was no trouble adjusting that. So I knit one sleeve, and then I tried it on, and the sleeve was gigantic. It was just flapping around on my arm, and it looked ridiculous. And it was uncomfortable to wear because I had all this extra material on my arm, and it was no good. And I could see from the pictures in the pattern that the sleeves are clearly supposed to be fitted. And I've got pretty hefty arms, so sleeves are very rarely accidentally loose on me. Sleeves are always fitted on me. So I was like, okay. And my gauge was still correct on the sleeves, so I don't know what was going on there, but the sleeves were gigantic. So I had to just undo that whole entire sleeve, and then I just sort of, I don't know, I cracked it by then, so I put it away, and I will do something different with it. I needed to get rid of there's only like 40 stitches in the sleeve, because it's very chunky, in the whole sleeve at the largest point, and I needed to get rid of about 10 stitches to make it like a whole quarter, like 25% of the sleeve I needed to get rid of initially in the initial starting point to make the sleeve not gigantic. Like the sleeve would have fit on my head as a hat, and it probably would have been a bit loose. So yeah, I have to make it much smaller, and then continue to decrease as the sleeve goes on. So I have to do a few more calculations, and I just wasn't in the right frame of mind to do that because I was feeling a bit, I don't know, I'd lost my love for it by that time, but I really want to finish it because I want to wear it because it's going to look so fabulous. So I've got the fronts, obviously, and the back, which is so cool. I love it. And you can see it is huge. It's going to be massive and oversized. I probably could have even knit the small instead of large and medium at the same time. I probably could have knit the small. I found the pattern quite difficult to understand, and I also found the chart for the back difficult to understand. Which could have been me, but there was things in the chart. There was stuff in the chart that was only in the written information, but there was no notation on the chart which came before the written instructions in the pattern that said please refer to the written instructions because you won't understand the chart unless you also read the written instructions. There was nothing saying that, and anyway, I had to undo part of the chart and part of the cables. It was no big deal, but it would have helped if there was a little note with the chart saying please refer to the written instructions for this section. That would have helped, but no big deal really. But yeah, considering I already felt a little bit cursed. Yeah, and it's going to be huge, but oh well. So that's my Apex cabin sweater that's actually a jacket. Now, my next thing is an acquisition, but a future cast on as well. I think I'm still going to love my Apex cabin sweater jacket when it's finally done, when I've got a bit of brain space to give to it. I think I'll really enjoy wearing it. I just need to give it some brain space. Excuse me for reaching out of shot. So This is a future cast on. I went to a not so local yarn store to me, but it's one of my favourites to go to. And they were having a trunk show of a really lovely yarn dyer called Prosper Yarns, and I was desperate to go because I had been following Prosper Yarns on Instagram, and she's from New Zealand, and obviously I couldn't get my hands on her yarn physically to check it out, so I wanted to see it in real life and meet the dyer. That's always nice. And it was dangerous because I wanted one of everything, if not two of everything, because every single colour that she had there I was in love with. There was not one colour that I didn't love. So and she had these hat kits. I'm wondering how well this is going to show up, but this is called the brushstroke hat, and I'm wondering if I can show you a better, oh no, there we go. So it is, I don't know if you can tell there, but it's got a brioche brim, so a brioche rib brim, and then in the body of the hat it's got, what do they call it, herringbone stitch. So I might see if I can add an image of the brushstroke hat here. So that should give you a better idea of what the hat looks like, and it's really beautiful, and it's knit by, pattern is, written by Alana Penk of the Black Cat Knitting Company, and I got the pattern and this yarn, this colour yarn, and this pom-pom. That's better colour. So this is like a very minty pale green, so my favourite, and it's called Let's Be Frank, with this beanie, I mean pom-pom, and I wanted to cast on like literally that second, but when I got home to cast it on, I then read the pattern and realised I actually needed 8mm needles, and I don't own any 8mm needles at all, so I had to wait and order some. So because my local yarn store also had sold out of 8mm needles, it was the only size they'd sold out of, so they've ordered some in for me, which was nice. So now I'm just sitting here going, where are my 8mm needles? Desperately waiting to cast this on because I want to wear it so much. You can see it's gonna look great. Desperate to cast that on. So this is a single ply, let me tell you, 100% merino single fingering 4-ply on the Butte base. Give you a nice close up there. It's so delicious, and it's a pretty fat 4-ply, I would say, pretty plump fingering weight, and you use it double stranded in this pattern, so you hold it double in this pattern. It looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting knit. When I was reading through the pattern, I completely did not understand how to knit the herringbone stitch. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me at all when I'm reading it. So I think it's going to be one of those patterns where you need to actually be doing the thing for it to make sense, for the words to make sense. So I'm really excited about that. Now, before I show you my next acquisition, I'm going to have to show you my next whip. This one, if you're on Instagram at all, you are probably sick of seeing this one. Not mine, personally, but everyone else's. Because this seems to be the hot right now pattern. And usually I avoid those patterns because, I don't know, as soon as something's popular, I don't want anything to do with it. And that's not like a choice. I think that's like some sort of subconscious, like psychological thing. I've been that way since I was a kid. If a movie was popular, I didn't want to watch it. If some toy was popular, I didn't want it. I don't know why. Anyway, this pattern is huge right now. Everyone is knitting it. It seems like everywhere I look, everyone's knitting one, or everyone's just knit one, or everyone's casting one on. It seems to be on my feed on Instagram all day long, everywhere. Anyway, I'm madly in love with it, and I couldn't not knit it. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, you know what? I've probably got heaps of things in my stash that I could use to knit that. And I went through my stash, and I, fortunately, I'm not sure, had enough to have made, I don't know, maybe 6 or something of them easily. So anyway, I made this one. I actually started another one and then decided the colours were all wrong, and this is my second attempt, and it's the Soldotna crop. And you'll notice, if you're familiar with it, that I've modified mine. Oh, there's a big windstorm happening outside and my door's just blown open. Hang on. I don't know if you heard that, but something hit the door. I don't know, a branch or something, small branch, and the door opened. Maybe a ghost. Anyway, all better now. I can see things sort of flying around in the backyard. I can see Rosie's balls, like her toys, rolling across the backyard because it's so windy. Anyway, back to the Soldotna crop. I've modified mine a little bit. The original doesn't have sleeves, and I've put sleeves on mine because I just can't, I don't know, I'm not sure why you would ever make a short-sleeved woolen jumper. I just can't think of an instance where I would ever wear a short-sleeved woolen jumper, so I have made this. Let me just... So, and it's got a 3/4 length sleeve happening there, just a little sleeve. And I'm almost done on the second sleeve. Now, let me tell you about the yarns. I've got some Bendigo Woolen Mills Rustic here. The colour might be called, I've got no idea what the colour's called actually. It is, this ball of yarn is maybe 15 years old. I've had it. It's verging on vintage, this one. But I had almost an entire 200-gram ball, and I just thought, you know what, I should probably use that. This little blip of green, I had a smidgen left over from a Swish Yarns DK that I think may be a merino with a teeny tiny bit of silk, maybe? Anyway, I just had a tiny little bump left of that, just sitting in a bag, and I thought, I'll try and use up as much of that as possible, and I've got like just a teeny tiny little ball of that left, so that was great getting that out of the stash. And the cream, this cream colour here, I can actually show you because it's right here, this amazing pine cone, is a Polworth that I dyed many years ago, and I loved it so much that I couldn't bring myself to knit it into anything, which is ridiculous. So it was just sitting in a cupboard doing nothing, which is even more ridiculous. So I thought I better use it. So that is the cream colour that you see popping up in there. And then the purple is the same as this Polworth that I dyed as well. And I literally have, and it's the same situation, I got them at the same time and I loved them so much I couldn't use them. And this is how much I have left, this little blip. It's probably maybe 3 grams, and I'm going to finish that sleeve and then it will be all gone. Like literally used the entire skein. So pleased with myself. And it's really, this Polworth is super plump, like really plump and hardy. But soft, like really cushiony. I really love it. Anyway, getting really excited about yarn there. And I also did not do the little speckles, like it has dots, colourwork dots in the body here in the original pattern. And I started off doing that. I'll pop a photo in here. And then I decided it was actually too much. It was detracting from the yoke. I felt like it was just overwhelming in here. So I decided to just do the plain body. And because the purple has actually got these little yellow blips in it anyway, or these marigold blips in it, I felt like that was enough activity. And I wanted to extend the bottom, the length a bit, but I also wanted to have enough left for sleeves, so I stopped a little bit beforehand and added in a transition and then lengthened it with the rustic. So really getting a lot out of stash yarn here, making a little cropped sweater with some sleeves. I usually only wear 3/4 length sleeves anyway, and just as a nice happy coincidence, once I'd gotten this length out of the body, I just did it to a point where I thought, I better stop, so I've got some purple yarn left for the sleeves. I just stopped at a random point where I felt like I had just enough to do 2 sleeves, and then with that left over after the body, I wound it into, weighed it and wound it into 2 equal balls, and then I knit until I ran out on this sleeve of purple, till I ran out of purple, and it just happens to be the exact same length as the purple in the body. That was an accident. I didn't plan that. So I was very pleased when that happened. So yeah, they match up. So that was good. So I just did the same length in rustic there before starting the rib. Did the same length rib as I did down here. So they all match. And I'll do the same thing on this side as well. And if I can, I'm actually going out to a gallery opening tonight, and I wouldn't mind wearing this. I know it hasn't been blocked, but I might give it a steam block with the iron, so I'm going to try and finish that sleeve. It's going to be a massive storm. I can see it, well, just told you about the storm out my big window there with the door flying open. But I can see it on the radar coming across. Huge storm. So it's going to be really cold. I'm going to need a nice jumper to wear under my raincoat for the gallery opening. It's going to look really fancy. But yeah, wouldn't mind wearing this if I can. But when I kept seeing this on on Instagram, and I was loving all everyone's pictures, I'm like, oh, it looks so beautiful, and everyone posting pictures of themselves wearing it, and it just looked, everyone looked so gorgeous in their soldotna crops, and I loved all the different colour combinations everyone was coming up with. Every single one looked amazing, and yeah, everyone just looked so beautiful in them, and I just loved them. And I just love the idea of the whole thing. I love a cropped jumper, and yeah, I love it. Love the style. It's it really appeals to me. And I'd seen a few people do little sleeves on theirs like this, and that really looked gorgeous and stuff. And I kept reading in people's like little blurbs about it. It was such a quick knit, it was so easy. I made one in a weekend, and one woman wrote, I knit mine in 14 hours from start to finish, from cast on to cast off. And I was like, wow, that's so quick. Oh my God, I'm going to knit one of these. I'm just going to knit one over the weekend. It's going to be so great. I'm going to have a really cute sweater in one weekend. So it's going to be really good. And I was really thrilled about that I was going to have a sweater in a weekend. Anyway, delusional. I'm a very fast knitter, and I don't know who the woman was that says she knit one in 14 hours, but I don't know if she maybe made a mistake with her timing, or I don't know, but I just don't think you could knit one in 14 hours. I could be wrong. I'm not saying it's impossible, because anything's possible, but once I'd started it, it feels really fast at the start, and you're like, yeah, I'm really powering through this. It's so addictive. I just want to get to the next part of the yoke. Yeah, this is great. And then it starts to slow down a bit as you get a few more stitches on there, and then I had to unpick a couple of rows because I messed something up, and unpicking colourwork rows is always a bit tedious and slow, and then I messed something up on an increased colourwork row, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing it, and then I started redoing something else, and of course, having to redo things always slows you down, and maybe the woman who knit hers in 14 hours never made any mistakes, and like, good for her. That would be really nice to knit something and never make any mistakes. And I just, once I got the yoke done, I was like, there is no way anyone knit this in 14 hours, even if you made the extra small and followed it exactly to the pattern. Obviously adding sleeves adds time, and didn't have sleeves on it and only knit it to the exact length. I think maybe you could knit it in 14 hours, but you would literally have to do zero, nothing else. Like, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, someone else feeds you, and you don't do anything else. Like, you just sit on the couch, and maybe you live by yourself, and so you've got no distractions, and you don't have to do anything. Or, I don't know. It kept playing in my head when it was taking me forever. I feel like I'm taking 14 hours to knit one row. Yeah, maybe you could knit it in a weekend if you didn't do anything else, but anyway, it wasn't that long a knit, and of course if you didn't add sleeves, it would be much quicker, and if you did it to the pattern and you knit it like really cropped, like if you knit it really cropped, it would probably only be that long. According to the pattern, it would probably only be about that long. You could probably knit it in a weekend for sure, but with my modifications and etc, it has taken a little bit longer. So I can't remember when I actually started it, maybe this time last week, so it's taken me about a week. So that's okay, like that's not bananas, that's still a very quick sweater knit, and I will finish it today, so yeah, that's still a very quick sweater knit. But that's okay. I'm happy with that. Now, my next acquisition that I am going to show you is more yarns that I got at the Prosper trunk show when I got the yarn for my beautiful beanie. Is yarns to make another sold out in a crop, because I loved this one so much that... So I must have started it on the Wednesday, pardon me, because I went to the trunk show on the Thursday last week, and I was already in love with this one so much that I wanted to get yarn for another one. So I got these two Prosper yarns. So this colour is actually the same colour as the yarn I got for my beanie, but it's just in a DK weight. And then, so it's called Let's Be Frank, and it's 100% New Zealand Merino. I'm going to show you the base name because I definitely can't pronounce that. And this one is called Sweet Sweet Manuka. It's beautiful. And then I got this Ren and Ollie peach pistachio, which if you've been watching the podcast for a while, you'll know is one of my favourite colourways from Ren and Ollie, and I've used it a lot in lots of different things. So these three colours are going to go together, and I think I'm also going to use what's left over of this Polworth and put that in with it, so they'll all go together. I don't know how to show you that properly, but you get the idea. And I'm going to make another soldotna crop. I think I'll also have to modify the pattern again so that I can get a little more length out of the body, and I don't know if I'll do sleeves. And I know before I just said I can't think of a time I'll ever wear a woolen sweater without sleeves, but maybe I'll have to find a way, because I don't know, I still haven't thought of a way that I can nicely add sleeves, because I'm not going to have enough of any of these main colours to add sleeves without them just looking like I'm trying to use up scraps of yarn, and I don't really want it to look like that. I want it to look cohesive and deliberate, rather than like I was trying to use up scraps of yarn, if you know what I mean. I realised, like, because I want that to be the main colour, I should have got 2 skeins of that, but I didn't. I wasn't thinking straight. Oh, I think I was a bit dizzy on yarn fumes or something. But there'll be a way. I'll be able to do something and figure it out, I think. They're the colours that I've got for my next soldotna crop. I am really excited about that. And so this is going to be my first Bendigo sweater for this year. That's what this one is. Really excited about that. Yes, people are already starting to talk about the Australian Sheep and Wool Show at Bendigo in July. I'm all booked in and really excited about it. I was talking with my knitting friends last night about it and what we're going to do and planning and everything. Really excited. And this will be my next one, I think. I'll probably cast this on as soon as I cast that one off. Yeah. So that is the next cast on, the next future cast on. So this has been a really long episode. I had a lot to show you, and that's okay because we had a lot to catch up on. So the last thing I've got to do is draw a winner for the April year-long stash busting craft along. So if you can see your name here right now, congratulations, you have won the April year-long stash busting craft along. So get in touch with me on Ravelry and let me know which pattern you would like, any pattern at all, any single pattern on Ravelry. Doesn't have to be one of mine, any pattern at all that you would like on Ravelry, and I will gift that to you via Ravelry. And thank you everyone who's taking part in that craft along in my Ravelry group. There's so many amazing FOs in that thread. There's hundreds actually, and you should go and check it out if you want some inspiration, because it's fantastic, like really spectacular. I'd be able to enter this one in actually because it's all ancient stash, which is great. And check it out, and don't forget to have a look at my sock along in the Ravelry thread as well. Some beautiful prizes to be won, and it's really fun, and you'll get some socks knit as well, so that's good. And even if you don't get your socks finished, there's always opportunity to win prizes in the chatter thread as well, because taking part is just as important as finishing your pieces as well in a craft-along. And I think that's everything. I hope everyone is doing well and the weather is being kind to you. I hope the storm has passed by the time I go to my gallery opening tonight. Fingers crossed. And I will see you all again soon. Bye.